You have to celebrate life whenever it's possible. That has nothing to do with money. It has to do with attention for each other and for small things.
So today we're going to be talking about happiness and success. Lots of myths around the topic that happiness is the result of success, that we have to strive for years to achieve success and then happiness is possible. To give you a view of that, let's talk to someone who's very, very successful. I'm going to spend some time to chat to Raymond Cloosterman, the CEO of Rituals, and see what he thinks about the relationship between happiness and success. My guest today is my friend and business idol, Raymond Cloosterman. Raymond is the CEO of Rituals Cosmetics. He is someone who started in a small garage in the year 2000, really with an attempt to build one retail store, to what is today 850 stores around the world, more than 3,000 locations, more than 1 million buying customers a week, and 3 million people walk into his stores every week, and thousands of very, very happy employees. I met Raymond the first time when I was invited to speak at his annual conference back in 2019. And I have to tell you, it was extremely eye-opening, because when we started to talk, we realized that we shared one common interest, which is to make people happy. I do it with my writing and with attempts to go and speak about the topic of happiness, and Raymond actually takes it quite seriously. Can I ask you, feel free to escape if you want. So you're very successful. You're loved by your team. I've seen it with my own eyes. You're popular where you live. Has success made you any happier than you were before?
That's a good question. It did change a little bit. I mean, I must say, if you look back to our history with Rituals, I always show this graph of the first 10 years, and then you don't see any turnover. It's like a flat line. And then afterwards, we got traction and we're flying. And I always say to all the new people entering the business that those first years, we were as happy then as we are now with success. But the things which bring the happiness are sometimes different. Initially, it's the camaraderie, it's the adventure, it's fighting back and making everyday little victories. And nowadays, the fact that we are successful is rewarding too, because it shows that everything we believed in those 10 first years is now paying off. And it's not the money or the turnover or the profit. It's more the fact that you see people buying into our philosophy and our products, and they start talking about it with their friends. Those moments really make you happy, because it's, I would say, fulfilling, that you are able to have a dream and then seeing that people buy into that and that they start jumping on that train and go on together. And when you were over in Amsterdam, we had, I think, thousands of our store managers together, celebrating and also introducing all the new products. And those are very happy moments for me. Then you see that this philosophy has been adopted by people with all their hearts, and I would say transcended to the teams in 24 countries. And it's a thing which is now becoming unstoppable. And that's you can sometimes take a small step back and just watch it and enjoy it.
You know, I ask that because this is probably one of the most frequent questions I ever get about the topic of happiness is, yeah, you must be happy, you're successful and rich. And I'm like, in all honesty, it really never... I mean, there was a point in my life where I had nothing at all. And of course, you know, some evenings and the last week of the month when I can't even provide for my family, I would feel like it's hard to become happy. But you know, past the moment where you achieve what is needed, you know, your basic needs for life, really, nothing really makes you happy. You know, money doesn't make you happy. Fame doesn't make you happy. You buy a car and it makes you happy for 7 minutes, and then poof. Like suddenly it's like you focus on the road and you don't see the car, and you know, and just life continues. And like you said, it's not the success itself, it's the feeling that you're living your passion. It's the feeling that you've managed to help a few people maybe see life a little differently. And if it's 1 million people, then it's even better.
No, money is not a driver for happiness, at least not for me. Happiness for me is more what you're referring to as friends make you happy, and being able to do things which are close to your heart, that makes you happy, or doing things which matter. That's where I find my happiness in a way. And in that sense, I'm not happier today than my early days in university when I had nothing. But I had my friends, and I had my small moments of happiness. And I think I've been lucky that I've been raised by my mother with this belief that it's about finding these moments of happiness in small things, that you have to celebrate life whenever it's possible. That has nothing to do with money. It has to do with attention for each other, for small things. And that part of my education, if you like, we didn't have money from my youth, but that's always made me feel rich in a sense. And that's which was also is now one of the, I would say, secret drivers within myself for rituals, because this what we do is very close to what I've been brought up with since I was 8, and that you have to celebrate the moments, that you're the director of your own life, and it has nothing to do with money, but more with attention for yourself and for each other. So I think that's why it's also easy for me to relate so much with the brand, and that after 20 years I'm still very hyper and still very enthusiastic about stupid small things like a beautiful new fragrance or a new candle or a new store or a new store design. Those guys, that never stops because we're grateful that this philosophy and these products, this brand allows us to continue on this path.
But then why would we chase success at all? In that case, if what we want from life is happiness, then why are we trying to be successful?
Ooh, that's more your expertise, Mo, than mine. I don't know. I think if I speak for myself, what you try to do is that everybody has, I think, a given set of talents, and then you're obliged to our boss up there or somebody or to yourself. At least that's my philosophy, that you take the maximum out of your skills and talents, whether you're a singer or an actor or a manager or whatever, or a friend. This is, I would say, a way of living, a philosophy. And if you do that, if you concentrate on getting the maximum out of yourself and situation, then it's about these details and being passionate about things. And then success is an outcome, if you like, often.
Oh, I would not have said it any better, Raymond. I think that's really the core.
Shall I write a book as well?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we spoke about the happiness challenge, which is really something really interesting. So August 1st, we launch an idea of trying to take 14 days of challenge for the clients to do rituals that make them happier. What do you expect? So we run the challenge. What's the target?
Yeah, that's a good one. One of the things we're going to do, of course, our own team is joining, but we also want as many customers as possible to join this challenge. And we have some experience with other challenges like the Slow Down Challenge. And I hope that we were able to get 50 to 100,000 people joining this whole challenge worldwide. For me, that's 2 football stadiums full of people every day working on their exercises. That would be a nice kind of challenge.
So your team is committing to 1 million?
Yeah, but I mean, for this challenge, it's of course people at home, customers, who do this for 2 weeks in a row.
For 2 weeks in a row is really important.
Who join every kind of exercise. For me, that's the real participant.
I'm still aiming.
We're going to touch anyway a lot of people because we're you with your podcast, and of course we're going to send out lots of these messages anyway as well. But so we hope to reach out to many more customers. We have a few million people getting our newsletters, and we give away our magazine to 2 million people. So all of them will be exposed to the beauty of this whole exercise. But the real hardcore 2 weeks kind of happiness challenge that we hope to do with a group like 100,000.
And do people have to be ritual clients?
No, of course not. Also now, if you go to our app and website, you can find exercises for meditation, for yoga, and that's open for everybody. You don't need to be a client. And also in our through social media and our newsletters, we advertise those kind of free products, if you like. So we want to, I would say, expose as many people as possible to our rituals philosophy, and as part of that, the happiness philosophy. And we don't care if they've bought product with us. They will do hopefully afterwards when they find out what a nice family it is.
We could talk for hours. I'm really, really grateful that you came and we had this conversation. I definitely believe that there is a very strong power in rituals, and I think the ritual of happiness is probably, at least in my books, the top one of them all. So I'm very grateful for what we're doing together, and I invite everyone who's listening to join us and to make sure that they don't miss out on that idea of 14 days of happiness. Raymond, thank you.
Mo, thank you very much. See you soon.